we are in for an awesome ride right here. We are going to be talking about the anatomy of a power. And you might be like, the anatomy? What the heck is that? Well, the anatomy is the makeup of it. So we're going to talk about the pieces that make up something called a power. And we're going to focus on the part of this which is called an exponent. So a power is quite literally a shorthand notation or a shorter way for us to explain repeated multiplication. It's kind of like how we repeatedly add, so we use multiplication for that. Well, there will be many uses in math where we repeatedly multiply, and so there came notation for that. So here we have a power. The entire thing read 5 to the third power, or 5 cubed, or 5 raised to the third. This is considered a power, so that whole thing is a power. This 5 right here is what we call the base, which makes sense. It's at the bottom of the power. That is your base. This smaller number is considered your exponent. So you want to make sure that when you write your exponent, it's a smaller number than your base, and it is raised up above that base. What does that power represent? Well, if I have 5 raised to the third power, it tells me that I'm going to multiply 5, the base, by itself, the exponent number of times. So in this case, our base is 5, the exponent is 3. What that tells me is I'm going to multiply 5 by itself 3 times. So 5 to the third power, if we're writing that out, is equivalent to 5 times 5 times 5. And we'll get to simplifying that in a not too distant future. That's it. That's the anatomy of a power and what it means to raise a number to an exponent. And now we're going to use our idea of powers and the exponents within them to condense expressions that are repeatedly being multiplied. Quick drills, but important foundations for you. This instruction says write each expression as a power. So in number 1, we've got 8 times 8 times 8 times 8. I use dot multiplication notation here, no biggie. So we see that we have 8 multiplied by itself 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So what that means is we have that this is equivalent to 8 multiplied by itself 4 times, or 8 raised to the 4th power. Not bad. This right here, we have 4.27 times itself twice, right? 4.27 times 4.27. So that would be equivalent to 4.27 to the 2nd power to symbolize that we have multiplied 4.27 by itself twice. Some people read that 4.27 squared, right? And if you think about it geometrically, that makes sense. Geometrically, like with shapes, if you had a square and you were finding the area of that square, with each side being 4.27, you'd multiply this number by that number. 4.27 squared. Pretty cool. Okay, this last one, the instructions are a little vague with it because technically we're going to have a power and then another number next to that power. Let me show you what I mean. We're going to condense this down. You have 11 times W times W times W times W times W. That's W multiplied by itself 5 times. So we end up with 11 times W raised to the 5th power. That to the 5th power is showing you that W has been multiplied by itself 5 times. You can then further condense that as 11 right next to the W to the 5th. Very important here, peeps. The 11 is not being raised to the 5th power. The exponent only applies to the base that is directly beneath it, that W. So it's 11 times 5 W's being multiplied.